The Graviton Lance is one of the best exotics in Destiny. The weapon essentially fires tiny black holes. A guardian discovered the weapon in an overgrown tunnel in Old Chicago, with his ghost saying that it was their fate to find it. This guardian would tell his friend that he plans on taking the weapon into the Crucible to showcase its space-time effects. Old Chicago is a place shrouded in mystery. Beneath the city lies dangerous tombs and catacombs. A warlock named Shayura and the rest of her fire team ventured into the tombs once, and many were slaughtered by a strange creature that lurks within its corridors. The Crimson is a hand cannon that gives you health after a kill, and its design looks like the exotic Red Death. According to Vanguard policy, this weapon does not exist. The Praxic Order of Warlocks have attempted to ban the weapon in similar copies from city arsenals. The lore of the weapon follows a ghost and a guardian having a disagreement over the Crimson, where the ghost says that it can heal the guardian just fine, as that is the ghost's purpose. The guardian responds, telling the ghost that its job is to simply state the obvious. The Graviton Lance and the Crimson are two of over 400 exotic weapons and armor, not to mention exotic ships, sparrows, ghosts, and even more exotic items. This video is the start of a series diving into the lore of every exotic in the Destiny universe. The Queenbreaker is a heavy fusion rifle in Destiny 1, and a linear fusion rifle in Destiny 2. The exotic is a piece of Fallen weaponry, an Elixni wire rifle. Queenbreaker was a title for Fallen who attempted to assassinate Queen Marasov, but failed to do so. The assassin's wire rifles were taken as trophies, labeled Queenbreaker bows, and then given to the Guardians. In Destiny 2, a fire team of 3 shrouded figures would share stories and legends. A warlock would speak about the aftermath of the Battle of Cybele, the final battle of the Reef Wars, where Skolas was taken as prisoner. This battle marked the end of the Wolf Rebellion, and many Fallen of the House of Wolves swore loyalty to Marasov and became her bodyguards. The Hunter finds this strange, the act of taking Fallen bodyguards after they attempted to kill you. The third figure speaks, saying that, quote, "But Elixni, we bend breathe always love for honor. New promise not unmake an old." The Hunter and Warlock realize that this figure is Mithrax. Mithrax tells the two that he plans to lead the open-minded Elixni, those who would eventually rally under the banner of House Light. Queenbreaker came to Destiny 2 in the Forsaken expansion, and at this point we didn't really know much about Mithrax. Our first encounter was during Destiny 2 Year 1, where we'd encounter him on Titan in a battle against the Hive Knight. The Peacekeepers are exotic Titan legs that reload stowed submachine guns. These are the boots of the Peacekeepers, a faction of Guardians who patrolled the last city before the Red Legion's invasion. Their purpose was to ensure the safety and protection of the city. The Peacekeepers were older Guardians. They were the Old Guard. Quote, born in the aftermath of the Iron Lords, they lived through the faction wars, bore witness to what damage internal strife could bring to a fragile society. The tragic realization of the Peacekeepers' legacy was that the last city was never truly safe, though the city is a lot more dangerous without them. The Universal Remote is an exotic shotgun from Destiny 1. This weapon went in the primary slot, which was an oddity for special weapons at the time, since only primary ammo weapons went in that slot. It was primarily a PvP weapon, with its perks enhancing range and damage. The weapon is named after the idea of the Universal Remote, a type of remote control that can be programmed to fit various brands and types of electronics. And the weapon is seen as a piece of junk, but to someone who knows how to wield it, it's a beast. Quote, "It took great care and an incredible feat of fine-tuning to craft a weapon that packs a close quarters punch, yet has the range of a precision rifle. Universal Remote is that weapon." The Zurf Board is an exotic skimmer given to us by Zur. The lore follows a fire team of Guardians getting ready for an expedition to find the remnants of our solar system. Their ship uses awoken and dead orbit technology, and they mention how the sensors on the new ship pick up strange signals and gravitational anomalies. The names of the fire team members are all pretty interesting. Rahila is an adventurous one, and her name has Arabic roots. It translates to one who travels, which makes sense given her role in this fire team of travelers. Roche 5 is another, and his name is a French word that means rock, referring to someone who lives by craggy rock. Isidro is the last of the fire team, and his name means Gift of Isis. Isis is the Egyptian goddess of healing and magic. She is commonly referred to by her Greek name, Isis, though ancient Egyptians called her Aset. Her name directly means Queen of the Throne. Isis is a crucial character in the story of Osiris, and she is one of the most powerful and important characters in the Egyptian pantheon. Isidro is a gift of Isis, a gift from the goddess. If Isidro becomes an important character, he may have ties to Osiris, the Trials of Osiris, or the Cult of Osiris. We may see this fire team at some point in the Fate Saga, as they are exploring what is left of Sol and investigating gravitational anomalies and signals. We are doing the same thing in the Edge of Fate and the following Fate Saga, and the skimmer itself has the iconography of the 9, so this is definitely foreshadowing the years to come. The Elethanum is an exotic that can create ammo on its own. Its name derives from the Greek words elethes, meaning true, and onyma, meaning name, together making true name. The weapon's lore speaks about an awoken legend named Netti, who found that by naming the world around her, she would find truth about herself. Quote, to record the existence of the other must, like a mirror, reflect the self. And so, in naming all that comprised the world, she would describe how best to be awoken. End quote. The names would also reveal truth about the living, and when accurate, could lead to significant revelation. Greek philosopher Socrates spoke about a similar idea. He questioned whether names were natural or conventional, if the names and language had a connection to the intrinsic meaning of what was spoken about, or if language was just symbols and signs. Socrates himself believed that when names were accurate, they revealed truth about the object in question. The legend of Netti connects to past lore regarding the Awoken. She had descendants in the Gensum scribes, and held a sanguine faith. The Gensum scribes were a group of scientists and engineers hailing from the Distributary. The Gensum scribes once gained power over the queen, ruling over the Awoken. Queen Nangaya Pin would eventually restore the monarchy, ending the Gensum scribes' rule, but she would offer them a place in her monarchy. The Sanguine were a faction of Awoken that found that their existence was a gift, and they had no stake in resolving the conflict of light and dark. To them, the Awoken were as stable as an atom of carbon. The Sanguine were an optimistic people, and wanted to focus on understanding themselves as Awoken. This ties to Netti's sanguine faith, and finding herself her truth by naming the things of the universe. The Black Talon is an exotic sword that allows you to fire a void projectile. The lore follows Hallam Fen, a paladin of the Royal Awoken Guard, who is speaking to Petra Venge 3 months after the end of the Taken War, the conflict with Oryx during the Taken King expansion. He finds Petra in a bathroom, telling her she needs to attend the funeral of Uldren Sov, who is presumed dead during the Taken War. He mentions that the Crows want to see her. The Crows were Uldren Sov's spy network, and they had commissioned a sword to honor him, the sword being the Black Talon. Petra then replies, quote, if I go, it's as good as saying he's dead, as good as saying Mara's dead. Well, Hallam exhaled, aren't they? Petra ground her teeth, but I want people to believe. Petra held the belief that Uldren and Mara didn't die in the Taken War, even though it was clear that the Dreadnought had blown up the ships. She was right in holding out this belief, as Uldren and Mara did survive, but this time, she didn't even want to consider that they might have died. She wanted the people to also believe they had not died. Attending the funeral would be accepting their deaths. The Ace of Spades is an exotic hand cannon and the weapon of the iconic hunter, Cade 6. The weapon has the perk Memento Mori, where reloading after a kill gives increased damage. It also has the perk Firefly, which creates explosions. Memento Mori is a Latin term that translates to remember that you must die. It's a reminder that death is inevitable, so you should live life with purpose and fullness. Memento Mori was not in Destiny 1, only present in its Destiny 2 counterpart, where it's also a reference to Cade's death. The actual Ace of Spades card is usually the card with the most high value within a deck of cards. It's also known as the Death card, and skulls are a common symbol associated with the card. Death has a long history with the card. There's also a symbol for taxes, and a representative for grave digging. The Ace of Spades has also become a symbol associated with war. In World War I, the Ace of Spades was a regimental insignia for the British Army, and in World War II, the Ace of Spades was an identifier for the 101st Airborne Division. In the Vietnam War, American soldiers carried the Ace of Spades to show their enemies that death would soon follow. The history of the symbol connects to the idea of Memento Mori, that death is inevitable. In Destiny, the Ace of Spades exotic was created by Banshee44. Cade had asked the gunsmith to create it. He also seemed to name the Ace of Spades after his son, Ace, whose existence is unknown. In Destiny 2, Cade 6 would suffer his final death at the hands of Uldren Sov, who killed him with his own weapon.
This is going to hurt a lot. Any last words? How's your sister?
By the technicalities of the Vanguard Dare and Cade's own will, the weapon and many other debts and belongings are supposed to be transferred to the thing that kills him. Quote, I, Cade 6, being of soundish mind and body, do hereby, henceforth, and heretofore, leave all my possessions to the person, alien, animal, or natural phenomenon what kills me. Aforesaid possessions include, but not limited to, the Ace of Spades, any and all stashes I've hidden throughout the system, the Colonel, my faithful friend, my debts, which follow. The attached file is too big to download. We'd obtained the Ace of Spades for our own after a long quest, which started when we avenged Cade 6 and killed Uldren Sov with the Ace of Spades. The quest involved reforging the weapon and discovering many of Cade's hidden stashes throughout the solar system. The ATS-8 Arachnid was an exotic hunter helmet in Destiny 1, which focused on extending Golden Gun's duration and range. ATS stands for Advanced Tactical Sensorium, and the flavor text says that, quote, induced hallucinations integrate broad spectrum targeting data, end quote. Sensorium is a word that means the parts of the brain or the mind concerned with the reception and interpretation of sensory stimuli, and it's the entire sensory apparatus. So it's an exotic helmet that is tapping into our sensors to interpret tactical data. The exotic looks like the head of a spider, where it gets its arachnid namesake from. In Destiny 2, this helmet is worn by the Consul. It's on his necklace, and he was the advisor of Dominus Gall. In the Dark Below trailer, we actually saw a Guardian named Dr. Crispy93 wearing this helmet, and he spoke about the helmet, saying,
"And check out this helmet, pure and chromium. Zirchromium. Whatever, it ends in EM, it really doesn't matter. And it's lined with like silk or something, so there's no chafing."
There's a theory among the community that Dr. Crispy93 was slain during the Red Legion's invasion of the city, and his helmet was taken as a trophy, and the Consul put it around his neck. The Noland Beyond was an exotic sniper rifle in Destiny 1 that was in a similar unique situation like the Universal Remote, where it was a special ammo type weapon in the primary slot. It featured a bolt action reload mechanic, and its perks increased damage. The weapon is modeled after the Russian anti-tank rifle, the PTRS-41, which was used in World War II. The name of the weapon comes from a Soviet sniper Vasily Zaitsev, who said, quote, "There is no land beyond the Volga," during the Battle of Stalingrad. The Soviet Union was determined to defend Stalingrad and saw that the Volga River was the last line of defense. There was no land beyond it. The weapon may also be inspired by the Finnish sniper Simo Hajoha, who fought during World War II in the Winter War between 1939 and 1940 between Finland and the Soviet Union. He held the title of the White Death, as he claimed the lives of over 500 soldiers and had the highest number of sniper kills in any war, becoming the most deadly and dangerous sniper in history. The White Death was infamous for using iron sights on a sniper, which might have inspired the Noland Beyond's iron sights. In Destiny 1, the existence of the Noland Beyond was considered a myth. Quote, "Rumors of this weapon's existence sent many a guardian clawing through the corners of old Russia, seeking its legend. Some believe its origins predate the Golden Age and serve to liberate the Old Earth nation from a terrible cycle of war." It does bear the appearance of the PTRS-41, so the theory that it was pre-Golden Age was accurate. In Destiny 2, Devram K in the European Dead Zone is seen carrying a Noland Beyond. Only until the reveal of the Edge of Fate would we finally obtain the Noland Beyond in Destiny 2, this time it being called New Land Beyond. New Land Beyond symbolizes the future of Destiny, and its flavor text is fitting for the Fate Saga. Every hit blazes the path to our reclamation. This was its description in Destiny 1, but it's still relevant today. The focus of the next few years centers on us rediscovering and reclaiming our solar system. The lore of the New Land Beyond focuses on a woman attacking a group of House of Devils who've barely integrated into the House of Dusk. They've taken an old factory as a stronghold, and she wields the New Land Beyond to take out the snipers. Quote, "It's the sun's glint that gives him away in the end, winking against the scope on his wire rifle. From deep in shadow, she takes the shot. It's her planet. They can't have it." The Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap is a Titan exotic helmet where diamond lances create stasis crystals, and when you create a rally barricade on a stasis subclass, kills with a stasis weapon create diamond lances. The lore follows a hunter, warlock, and titan in combat. The titan is a stasis behemoth, who forms diamond lances and stasis crystals that form around his face. The title of the exotic, Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap, refers to the location on Europa, Cadmus Ridge. Cadmus is a figure in Greek mythology who founded the city Thebes, and Cadmus was the brother of Europa. Cadmus is also known as the person who brought writing and the alphabet from the Phoenicians to the Greeks, and the Greeks delivered that to the entire world. Zen Meteor is an exotic solar sniper rifle in Destiny 1 that turned every round into an explosive round. The weapon was created by Taiko III, a warlock named the Stoic, and hunter Uzuma Vale. They sought to create a weapon that was linked to the user's mind. Quote, "This groundbreaking weapon uses electroencephalography to draw energy from the wielder's neural activity. It can even, if a certain threshold is met, convert that energy into matter to be used as concussive ammunition. Or, to be more precise, the more focused the wielder's mind, the more powerful the weapon. Electroencephalography is a diagnostic test of electrical activity in the brain. This weapon taps into that, connecting the weapon to the mind. Zen is a Japanese word for peace, calmness, and focusedness. When the user is in Zen, the weapon is powered to have the strength of a meteor. The perks of the weapon, dynamite and with a laser beam, are a reference to the song Killer Queen by Queen. The electronica shell is an exotic ghost shell which features an article written by Ember Haddad, the senior editor at the City Herald. The article speaks about the nature of Guardians' desire to dance, and how, quote, "That's pretty much all they do. When I see them, sometimes they kind of dance at each other, if you know what I mean." A Cabal Skyburners report once noted that, overwhelmed by Guardian fireteam / Vex pressure, few survivors. Survivors reported Guardians foraging for equipment, dancing, and performing acrobatics with light vehicles. We've read 2 other articles by Ember Haddad, which were released shortly before the events of the final shape. One spoke about the experience of a newly risen Guardian and his ghost, Rivet. The other was about the lives of many humans who found a new home in the farm after escaping their Shadow Legion captives. The exotic ship Dein Interlace was earned upon completion of the chess puzzle, and the lore follows Drifter and the reports on the giant anomaly connected to his ship, the hull. Nothing seems to add up empirically with the hull. The Drifter tries to measure its weight, which changes every time he weighs it. He tries to measure what it off-gasses. Sometimes it's dust, other times it's radioactive particles or confetti. He tries to find patterns in the data, something to deliver answers, possibly a message. Quote, "But nothing, not even a joke at his expense. Just nonsense. Static played out on the radio, all that noise still equaling 0. Drifter's almost insulted, but sure, whatever. No one asked him to understand the thing. Just carry it and play the game. Sometimes the game covers his incidentals, sometimes it's a weight around his neck. Either way, he's tired of waiting for the other shoe to drop." Dein Interlace is the process of converting interlace video, where frames are cut into even and odd lines, into progressive video, which displays all the lines in sequence. The hull was a gift from the 9 to the Drifter, and it's described as an engine of pure potential.
Dredgen.
Nah, not anymore. It's Drifter now.
You have proven yourself worthy. Accept this gift from the knife.
A gift? What gift?
Drifter uses it to create Taken for Gambit, and traversing into the hull leads you to the realm of the 9. Drifter is attempting to process the data into something tangible, a process of Dein Interlace, but nothing is adding up. The lore of Dein Interlace raises some questions regarding the hull. The chess puzzle's completion gave you the ship, but also a cutscene which showed Drifter and his ship being aged.
In place, it holds them hostage. And some folks, well, some folks just run. I went far. I had to. I couldn't look at the moon.
Drifter's face changed, and the ship returned to a more pristine age. But the strange thing is that the hull was not affected by this anomaly. The hull is something I think deserves a bigger deep dive, so let me know if you'd like to see more about this strange anomalous object. Coldheart was Destiny's first trace rifle. Its exotic capabilities allow it to fire an arc laser, dealing increased damage the longer it's on a target, and it creates ionic traces. The Coldheart is an Amalon weapon, and Amalon have been slowly reclaiming Golden Age technology since the collapse. However, Coldheart is something they made completely on their own. It fires liquid ammo, and was a first of its kind in laser-powered weaponry. Amalon has an ambitious goal to not only reclaim the Golden Age, but surpass it. While the weapon may appear to fire what may be ice or water, the weapon is still arc. It, quote, leverages liquid fuel veins as self-coolant to keep onboard projection generator at biting sub-zero temperatures. So essentially it takes this arc energy and cools it to sub-zero temperatures, allowing it to fire a cold fusion powered laser. The Rat King is an exotic sidearm that becomes stronger when others in your fire team also have it equipped. The lore speaks about a myth among the children of the last city. There is said to be a boy who traveled outside the city walls and leads a group of children that save the world. This boy is called the Rat King. Quote, the children believe he leads the forgotten among them out of the city on grand adventures. They say he and his misfit army saved the world. But children say many things, and the Vanguard maintains their official stance. There is no Rat King, and his army never existed. That's what the elders believe. I choose to believe otherwise. Rat King is a term to describe a naturally occurring phenomenon in real life where the tails of rats become intertwined and tangled. Cade 6 would write about the Rat King. One of his fellow hunters, Lush, had lost his ghost and disappeared, leaving the group to question his whereabouts. Shiro 4 would say that Lush had joined the Rat King in his army. The weapon's description, "We are small but we are legion," is a reference to Mark 5:9 in the Bible. Jesus confronted a man possessed by a demon, who responded, "My name is Legion, for we are many." The Karnstein Armlets are warlock exotic gauntlets that, upon melee, increase resilience, mobility, restore health, and grant cure and restoration buffs. The lore speaks about the experience of wearing and testing the armlet, and when upon doing so, hear a voice of a woman in your mind, asking you to help her search for her lost wife from the collapse. The flavor text reads, "You are mine, you shall be mine, you and I are one forever," which is a quote from the Gothic novella Carmilla by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu. Written in 1872, the story is one of the first works of vampire fiction. It follows the tale of a young woman who is preyed on by the vampire known as Carmilla. Carmilla's real name is Countess Marcalla Karnstein. In Destiny, the perk for the Karnstein Armlets is named Vampire's Caress. One of the ornaments for the exotic is titled Gothic Horror, the genre of the novel. Vergles Curve is an exotic stasis bow that grants stasis arrows on kills. Hip firing will shoot the arrows in a volley and will freeze targets on contact and create stasis crystals. The lore follows the user of the Vergles Curve, as they first find trouble on the battlefield. They stumble and find it hard to grasp for an arrow. They then find peace and focusedness. Quote, "My fingers fly open, my arm shudders, the bow limbs flex wildly, the string twangs, the arrows fly. Everything in motion, surging with chaotic momentum. And on the battlefield, there is only stillness, beautiful, tranquil stillness, where my enemies once stood." Vergles is a word that means a thin coating of ice or glaze ice on a surface. The word derives from a French word verre, meaning glass, and glace, meaning ice, combined being glass ice. The creator of the Vergles Curve is unknown, but it seems to be manufactured by the Queen's Guard, given the context of the season it arrived in. The Vergles Curve came with Season of Defiance, where we worked with Queen Marasov and the Awoken to fight against the Shadow Legion.
And I shall knight you myself.
The Griffin is Destiny's first combat sparrow. The lore follows city engineers Neek and Zanra as they take apart a brig, seemingly for the heavy metal event. Neek jokes about the way Zanra tears apart the brig's leg, and Zanra falls silent, believing that she'd rather forget her hardships than remember them. Neek would tell Zanra that she kept her name, even though it's something she may want to forget. Zanra is a descendant of Bracca's Zahn, a weaponsmith who once supplied the Red Legion with a variety of weapons, leading to the death of thousands. A griffin is a mythological creature that features the body of a lion and wings and head of an eagle. The Griffin Sparrow has a similar dual function, being both a weapon and a means of transportation. The Triton Vice is a hunter exotic gauntlet that buffs glaive reload speed, melee damage, projectile damage, and gives capabilities to overflow the magazine. The main perk, Halberdier's Reach, is what causes this effect. Halberdier is a title of a person who uses a halberd, a two-handed polearm that is very similar to a glaive. Triton is a word for a large mollusk, and in Greek mythology, Triton was a god of the sea who used a conch shell like a trumpet. Vice is a word that means wicked or immoral behavior, so the name refers to an immoral Triton. A hunter discovered this armor and showed it off to a friend. The hunter claimed that the gauntlets were a piece of Titan's apex predator, a crab, and claimed that the real thing would tower over them. The hunter also said that the crabs were, quote, "the perfect organism, the form towards which life all inevitably converges, even on Nessus," end quote. The hunter then claimed that they'll see more crabs the farther from Earth they get, and that the Elixni share a common ancestor with the crab. The hunter's friend then made fun of him for this way of thinking. The flavor text is, "With this I topple Heracles." In Greek mythology, a giant crab known as Carcinus assisted the Hydra of Lerna during its battle with Heracles. During the battle, Heracles killed the crab, and the crab was honored by Hera, who turned him into the constellation of Cancer. The Corvus Hold are exotic warlock gauntlets that allow you to resist damage when you charge your void grenade. The lore is a piece of writing from someone known as Tomek. Tomek was studying the multiverse, and was working on a device that would allow other parallel versions of himself to carry his burdens. However, he comes to a realization that if he was thinking about this, then another one of the infinite Tomeks was thinking the same thing. As he was working on his device, he said, quote, "I and one other activated our inventions at the same exact space-time coordinates. It came down to a cosmic coin toss. One of us became the owner of the powerful Corvus Hold, and I became a battery." End quote. It seems like here that Tomek lost the coin toss, and now he is carrying the burden of the other Tomek. He has become the battery, the power source of grenade regeneration in the other's Corvus Hold in the parallel world. We see this visually on the exotic, with the purple coil seemingly the void battery. Tomek is a Polish name derived from the Aramaic word tuma and Greek word tomos, both meaning twin or double. The Renewal Grasp are hunter exotic gauntlets that allow your dust field grenades to have a larger radius. Allies inside the dust field take less damage, and enemies inside the dust field deal less damage. The exotic was created by 801 after the end of Project Stronghold. Project Stronghold was a joint venture between 801 and Lakshmi 2. It aimed to be, quote, a bunker where the city's leaders could be preserved through any attack. Lakshmi is the one who spearheaded this idea, but the project fell apart with Lakshmi 2's attack on the city and her subsequent death. 801 created the Renewal Grasps for herself, weaving it using synth weave and gave it a black armory design. The Mantacore is an exotic submachine gun that when damaging targets when grounded gives it anti-grav propulsors. Dealing damage while airborne extends the anti-grav repulsors and damage output. The lore details an encounter between Queen Marisov and Xivu Arath across the Ascendant Plane. Marisov calls Xivu Arath single-minded and nothing but war. Xivu Arath retorts, saying that Mars' fault is that she values life over victory, and that, quote, war is eternal, you are not. You wither and die like your armies, your subjects. Marisov replies, war is ever hungry, you must fight forever, or it will consume you instead of your enemies. In truth, you are not war, merely its avatar. A deft maneuver, the war god is surprised and pleased. In response, she pivots to a new angle of attack. Your brother shuns you, the queen falters. It is an opening in her defenses she failed to cover adequately. Psychic blood seeps from a mental wound. But she rallies. Your sister plotted against you. She lunges forward. She freed herself from the bondage you still endure, and she did so at my hand. Xivu Arath would flee, marking the beginning of the war between the two. The battle was a war of words, with Mara left wounded, and Xivu Arath eager for their next encounter. A Mantacore is a creature from Persian mythology that carries the head of a human, body of a lion, and tail of a scorpion or venomous spines. The Mantacore has an insatiable hunger for humans, known for hunting human beings. The Mantacore is a viced weapon, and viced weapons are named after snakes, spiders, scorpions, pretty much any creature that are venomous and carry a killer instinct. Gjallarhorn is one of the most iconic exotics in all of Destiny. It fires wolfpack rounds, where rounds are divided into individual cluster missiles. In Destiny 2, Gjallarhorn can empower other legendary rockets with wolfpack rounds. Gjallarhorn was created by Crux Lomar, a weapons foundry that was based in Bannerfall. The foundry was founded by Faisal Crux and Victor Lomar. Gjallarhorn was forged from the armor of guardians who died during the Battle of Twilight Gap, the event where 3 fallen houses attempt to attack the city. It was given to those who fought in the battle. During the Rise of Iron expansion, our guardian was able to forge a Gjallarhorn of our own.
The power of the Iron Lords now rests in your hands, Guardian. Use it.
In Norse mythology, Gjallarhorn is a loud horn wielded by the god Heimdallr. It is said that, quote, its blast can be heard in all worlds, and that when Ragnarok comes, the sound of Gjallarhorn will be heard. The Bungie designer for the weapon, Mark van Heidsma, said that he added a wolf onto the weapon every day he spent working on it, resulting in a total of 16 wolves. In Destiny 2, the Gjallarhorn ornament Hirsvelgr shares the name of the Jotun in Norse mythology, Hirsvelgr, which is a giant eagle. This is seen visually on the Gjallarhorn, where the wolf is replaced by an eagle. The weapon returned to Destiny 2 with the 30th anniversary event. The lore follows a crowd forming around our guardian, as we showcase the Gjallarhorn. A newly risen Guardian named Randy finds the Gjallarhorn lackluster, saying that he could add tracking modifications to his bad omens. He soon realizes that his bad omens is nothing compared to the exotic. Frustrated, he throws it off the tower railing, when our Guardian takes the Gjallarhorn and fires at the bad omens, blowing it up. Quote, Randy's jaw drops. The Guardian steps forward and places the Gjallarhorn into Randy's hands with a smile. Start your legend with this instead. Thank you for watching this video. Again, this is the first part in a longer series going over the lore of every single exotic in Destiny. If you have any exotics you want to see next, let me know in the comments. Also, thanks to Bungie, I've hidden a code for the polychromatic refraction emblem throughout this video. Use code abaddon10 for a discount at your next advanced GG order. Links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and click the video on screen for more.